So recently, we just went on Battle Royale's 1 year anniversary. If you're not familiar, we actually stole this format from a podcast called Rex Factor, uh, who did all of the numbers and the rounds, the silly rounds, and all of that. Well, Rex Factor's formula is basically its own genre of podcast at this time. And last year, there were actually three of us that started off. There's obviously us, who you're listening to right now. Hello. And then two more, Tudoriferous and then Battle Royale. Tudoriferous, they are basically ranking the 15th century, we decided. Uh, they really focus on the Tudors. They have Isabella of Castile. That was very good. They have a Perkin Warbeck. They have multiple episodes on him. That's very good. If you like this format, go give them a shot. But also, Battle Royale invited us onto their 1 year anniversary, and we just kind of talked for an hour, and it was lovely actually putting names to faces because it was kind of an ordeal for Ben to organize that because we were literally scattered worldwide.
It
And I'm
was
not
all different time zones. It was all different. I think the latest was like 1 a.m. on one day, but then there was like 5 a.m. on the day before, right?
Yep. So Ben hosts from Australia. His partner, Eliza, which takes Matt's role, just as like the first listener, Eliza lives now in Japan. And then Tudoriferous, Michelle lives somewhere on the western side of Canada. Matt and I are both in the eastern time zone. And then Lucy is in the UK. So literally all time.
Literally everywhere. Literally everywhere.
So that was really fun. So go listen to them. If you're looking for a good start off for Battle Royale, their Charles Martel episode was very good. They have Charlemagne if you're interested in that. But honestly, just start from the beginning and go. They're the only of the three that we just mentioned. They're the only ones that's linear, and they're doing all of the kings and all of the kings of France. So it's good. Go listen to them.
Please do. They are really, really good. And with that being said, let's get this episode started.
Welcome to Ranking 76. We're ranking 76 heroes and villains in the American West. I'm Eric.
And I'm Matt.
Today we're not ranking anything.
Nope.
Well, we just hit our 20th person, so we're taking a little break. We're gonna release this on an off week, and we're just gonna have a chat because we covered a heck of a lot of information in the last 10.
We really did. We really did. It went fast, but it also feels like it's been a while too.
It has been. And you got to think. So we started in November.
I think that was when our first episode dropped.
Yep. Which means we probably started recording in October, and we recorded a lot in a little bit of time, and now we kind of been spaced out. But
I feel like we had this pattern where we like recorded, and then took a break, and then recorded like regularly, and then now we're like record. Like we're getting like our groove back.
Right. It also helps. I feel like I'm getting a little bit better at building a narrative that actually like flows together, and like I have to put this part in because I need to touch on it later. Kind of like that gets a little bit easier. So.
And I really think we hit our stride with like what was it? Was it the Donner Party? No, it was.
I think yes,
it was the Donner Party, right? Is when we were really like
where we both actually just for a little bit behind the scenes talk. Matt, I've said a couple times that he does the editing, but he will send it back to me so I can listen to see if there's any issues, if repeated a story, whatever it may be. And almost every time when Matt sends me I have it uploaded to the drive, go listen to it, I will ask, how does it sound? And Matt will send something to the tune of, well, I was terrible, but you were pretty good.
I think it's like almost every time too.
Right. And then I'll listen back and I'll say, well, I thought that was pretty good, but I was bad and you were good. So maybe that's just our formula. We both think we suck individually, but the other one's good. So hopefully we're getting a little bit better. It feels like they flow a little bit better than the initial.
Well, I mean, maybe we can talk about a little bit about like how we record so that like since we're on like our 20th episode or just past our 20th episode. So basically how it works is Eric and I will pick a time. It's obviously way before Eric has a schedule of, I mean, God, how you have a schedule of how many? Like, I think you had said until like December or something, right?
I know who we're doing through February, but also we just flip that schedule. So throw that out the window.
But basically, Eric knows who we're doing. So then we schedule a time and then we come together, record. So we usually hope sometimes we have a couple in the shoot, just in case for whatever reason something happens. We don't want to be leave you guys without an episode. And then after we record, sometimes we do 2 a day. I'll edit, send it to Eric, like he said, just in case. It's always good to. It's like reading a paper in college when you mess up, or like you can read it, reread it, and then you give it to someone else, and they go, "Hey, you've missed a period," or said the 5 times in a row. So that's why I give it to Eric also because I want him to listen too. So I listen to every episode at least twice. Eric, you do too, right?
Yeah.
So yes, and then we book it, slate it, send it out. That is our schedule. I mean, obviously every podcast is a little different, I'm sure, but we just want to get a little bit ahead so we can keep these episodes in timely manner.
And that's actually what we're doing now. Right now, I'm actually in Albany, New York, for work. So I am recording this in a hotel room. So if my audio sounds a little bit weird, it's the Wi-Fi at the Fairfield Inn. So yell at them. But so far, I
And it's
think
funny because by the time this episode airs, you will not be in Albany
no,
anymore.
I won't. I'm only here for a month, and we're recording on July 4th. I don't think this is supposed to go out until
I think
oh
it's at the
god, another
end
month.
of July. No,
Yeah,
it's the first week. It's the first week in August is when it
right.
is.
So we have, and then just Matt just changed careers recently, and then just notoriously, the field that I'm in for food service, we have just a terrible September. So we're just trying to get through that September mark. So we've recorded a couple episodes that haven't dropped yet. So
Right, that's our goal though, to get through September so that way everything stays fine, and then in October we'll pick back up and
right. And hopefully
run.
you will be none the wiser.
None the wiser, right? Unless you listen to this episode now. Unless you
Yeah.
listen to this episode.
But on that, I suppose we can like I kind of like these episodes just because it gives us a little bit of like we can touch on something. Sometimes I remember something I should have said during the episode, or it's just nice to reminisce a little bit. So it's also just a good introduction. If somebody missed a couple episodes, they can just kind of pick back in, and then they
Maybe you'll
can
hear something and go, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna go back and listen to that."
do want to go back in. So we'll see how this one goes. I did like the first one though. So person number 11. So we ended off with the Alamo for our last 10.
Yep.
And then we instantly switch gears to Red Cloud as number 11. And the amount of time we have spent on the Sioux and the Western South Dakota and Dakota Territory was a lot in this set of 10.
Yep, I was gonna say with this 10 we really focused hard on it.
And what's nice is I wish I could have tell you that we planned it out this way, but doing Red Cloud first was key. If we didn't do him first, there would have been so much background that needed to go into Crazy Horse and like
Right, like if we would have done Crazy Horse, we would have like it's so much of what Red Cloud did kind of led into the
yes,
like Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse.
he sets the table nicely, and I hope that people at least have an appreciation for Red Cloud. And what I really hope, because we did a lot of Native Americans on this set of 10, naturally with Little Bighorn. What I hope is it's very easy, like if you're American or you study American history, to just feel horrible about what the American government did or what the Americans did to Native Americans. And what I really hope, and yes, that's all true, and we can't get around that, but there is so much to celebrate. There's so much to like actually like go, that is really cool with Native Americans, and like Red Cloud's part of that Sitting Bull. It's not just the end story where we just feel horribly depressed about the terrible things that happened, but there's a lot leading into that. And Red Cloud, I think, is just a perfect example of he actually brought the Americans to the negotiating table. He did that.
Right.
No one
They
else
were
did that.
actually they were actually so worried that they did they came together. They're like, no, we need to squash this. Now, would the Americans have won regardless? Yes, but the fact that Red Cloud made them so scared that they called a meeting says a lot, actually. It does say a lot.
Yeah. Like it's, and then he was scoring well. So I think his Are You Satisfied score was 11, which is fine. It's positive.
I think there was just a few things, if I remember correctly, in his early life, right? Or he's the one that didn't really have a lot of information?
I mean, that's all of them, because the Sioux, I mean, you're just going off oral. There is enough there that you can dictate, that you can, kind of read off of, and you can get into. But I feel like his score really hurt because the last 20 minutes of his episode was real depressing. After the Fort Laramie Treaty, and it just became obvious that they were getting screwed, and intentionally screwed.
He was the one that signed without actually knowing what it was. And then he was like, years later, was like, I wouldn't have signed it.
Right. Yep, he was. So, Red Cloud,
You gave him a way higher score than though on Be Sure You're Right. Then go ahead the next round.
Right. I can't remember year 3, but I think my argument was everything he did was to protect his people. He didn't have moral failings, and then even later in his life, he just realized, like, if we continue to fight, it's just going to be a slaughter.
I can't remember exactly why I gave a 3, but I believe my thinking was he should have known better.
Possibly.
I have to go. Yeah.
So I think you were really. There's so many raids. Like we talked about the raids on, but like those raids were vicious. So that's probably why. Other than that, there's really not much to really, talk on too much. He got a 61, which is a pretty reasonable score.
I do want to say though, you gave him quite a higher legacy, and I remember mine was pretty low at a 4 because I had never like heard of him. But you seem to think his lasting legacy, was it because of the Fort Laramie Treaty?
I just think he
brought him to the table.
Like, I think he's that second tier down. So like Sitting Bull, Crazy Horse, they're always like the first 2 leaders you think of.
Right.
I think Red Cloud is just below that.
Okay.
And that's why I went with the 7.
Okay. But overall, yes, like you said, we gave him a 61.6. And I'm pretty sure he was drafted to me, correct?
No, me.
Are you sure?
Yeah. Let me look at the teams. That might be helpful to pull up here.
I could have sworn I had Red Cloud, but I don't know.
Oh, you do have Red Cloud.
I see. I knew it. I know my team. I know my team.
All right.
So he went to Team Matt. Woo, 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 woo.
Okay, fine. Okay.
All right. Now we are going to move on to one of. Go ahead, Eric. Go ahead.
I'm looking at the teams. I don't think I want to look at this next guy. He still scares me. It's also so we did John Wesley Hardin, which I think the picture that's done by Philippe Tot, again, if you are able to look at the graphics or go to our website, I reached out to someone who does like historical repicture remasters. His name is Philippe Tot. I'll leave a link to his Facebook page. He does really good high definition pictures of like Calamity Jane, just a lot of famous figures, some that we cover. And the picture that he made makes Hardin look horrifying, and he doesn't need help looking horrifying.
Okay, this picture is literally a villain photo. Like, you can look at this guy and know he was a bad dude.
Yes.
And this guy was a freaking bad dude. I hate this guy. I hate him.
Well, he's on my team. I did look at that. This was the easiest score we've ever done because it was just like solid tens all the way around.
We both did like his story, though. We were both very satisfied. Well, albeit negatively. Right.
He was the ultimate villain. He is the ultimate bad guy. But the only round he didn't do that well in was Legacy. And I think we both did, like, we both kind of realized, like, yeah, it's Legacy score is going to be terrible. Nobody wants to claim him. Like, you don't even, he can be the bad guy in the movie, but like, there's no, what makes a good bad guy is someone you can relate to that has, like, you know, you can see their point of view. John Wesley Hardin would just murder you for the sake of murdering you. Matt did just kind of bring up on a little sidebar there. I do have kind of a typo on his scorecard. I'll fix that sometime. His actual negative score of negative 89.5 is correct, but I did forget to put a negative. But I took this from a spreadsheet that does all the formulas for me, so it is 89.5, which is the lowest score we have, but it's also the most extreme score because I think our highest positive score is now Sitting Bull, and he's at 81. So John Wesley Hardin is
the highest score right now negatively, but overall he has the most points. Yeah. Well, I mean, we maxed out 3 categories. Yes. Almost 4.
Yep. Killing 35 people. When people say like you kill 35, he only had like 5 years to do that. He was in jail much longer than he was not in jail.
I think, well, we gave someone, I can't, we'll talk about it, but we gave someone the credit for that whole massacre. I can't think of his name Custer. Right now. Yeah, okay, I was gonna say Custer. I wasn't 100% sure, but like this dude, it was like 35 on his own.
Yeah,
like we can't say it was in battle. Like, nah, no. He just killed him.
No, it started with he murdered a slave because that slave likely beat him in a wrestling match, and then he just murdered everyone.
Oh, that was on the when he was like riding in a carriage, right? The guy was coming back.
I think you're mixing up Tom Horn and his dog being killed. No, this was Mage. He was the former slave who got in a wrestling match with Hardin and his his forever long list of cousins. And then Mage was kicked off the plantation. And then Hardin, as a teenager, like went out and basically killed Mage in cold blood. And that was his first murder. It's like, what, 15, 16? It wasn't old.
So, as you said, you were the one to draft.
It's a hell of a story, isn't it?
I don't know. Yeah, it's a crazy story. If you haven't listened to it, you need to, because it is very, very interesting.
Also, he is a crazy, if we're doing some sort of team building, having the extreme, like having someone with 110, I think is going to carry them. He has all of the extreme scores. He's the highest category. Like,
he's definitely, yeah, I think he's definitely going to go. He's going to do well.
He's on my team.
I think he's going to do well.
I have to deal with that. All right.
We'll make a trade. Here we go. All right.
Completely different story. I don't know if you guys can tell. So, I do this on purpose and it doesn't always match up, but I try not to do 2 white dudes in a row. A lot of the American West, you just think of a bunch of angry white dudes doing whatever they want. So anytime you see back-to-back white dudes, it's probably either going to be a female coming next or a Native American leader. Just a little bit of a peek behind the screen for you. But after John Wesley Hardin, we needed something different, and we got it with Olive.
We definitely went different. Yeah, good old Olive Oatman. Which that was a very different story. That was where her and her sister get taken by the Yavapai. Then they get sold to the Mojave and live with them for many years until they are released, I would say.
Rescued, released, but yeah, they were basically
They were
like,
never okay when they went to the Mojave. They were never really. I mean, that's the debate, right?
let's debate. Like, this makes the story so fascinating. And like, we only gave her an "Are you satisfied" score of like a 6 apiece. I feel we messed up here because her story. The more you like, there's so many different ways you can interpret her story. It's fascinating.
See, I'm in the camp that okay. So if you remember, she has the markings on her chin. They definitely weren't captive because that was a sign the Mojave wanted to see you, or like that is the way to find your brothers and sisters in the afterlife with those markings. And her and her sister both received them. I mean, her sister unfortunately was very sick and passed away, but you would not get those rankings if you were a captive. They would not have cared about you.
Well, I think that's part of the debate too, because like Stockholm syndrome is a thing. They
Yes,
just went from
100%.
like the absolute, they were literal slaves with the Yavapai, and then the Mojave by default, even if they're not like, it all comes down to, do you believe they enjoy their time in the Mojave? And if they enjoyed their time in Mojave, was it more Stockholm syndrome, or did they actually enjoy themselves with the Mojave? And that's the whole debate. The evidence is Olive likely liked her time with the Mojave, but she's the only one that can answer that.
Well, and unfortunately, I think when she met he was a reverend, right?
Yes, Stranford,
I think it
Royal
was
Stratton, Royal
Stratton.
Stratton.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's Stratton. I feel when you tell someone like because they wrote a book, but in it it's very like she didn't enjoy her time, this, that, and the other, and then she started to say it when they went on book tours. So I think we will never actually
Right.
could never know the real story because it's this way, it's that way, it's this way. But it was a very good score, or I mean, it was a very good story.
Right. I don't. The score of 26 does not reflect how much I think I really enjoyed talking about her, because it's just, there's so many different ways you can.
I think 6 is a good story or a good score for something for for a person that didn't like see. I mean, she definitely saw a lot. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie,
Yeah.
she saw a lot, but she didn't like wasn't a part of anything quote unquote like major in
Right.
the era.
Right. She was. Yeah. I do
So
think if people wanted to go to, again, and a score of 6, if when you think of it as, if we're not going 0 to 10, it's -10 to +10. That is still in like the upper quarter of scores. Like, that's still in the top 75% of what we could possibly score. So it's really not.
but it was also it's also the first person that we did that, didn't kill anybody. Didn't like she actually got to live out her life.
Calamity Jane, but yes, I get your point.
Oh God, I keep forgetting about Calamity. Dang. Calamity. But I mean she didn't kill anyone. She had a normal death. We weren't scared of her.
No, we weren't.
All those scores are zeros. She got a lot of zeros.
She
So
did.
I mean her overall score of 26, I mean,
Yeah.
but I liked it so much I was the one who drafted her, right?
Yep. You
Yep.
were.
Mm-hmm.
And then immediately after that,
I think is one of our best episodes to date.
You talk about Sarah Graves.
Yep. And the Donner
I
Party.
agree. I think this was the first episode where we both listened back and we were like, you know what? I think this one has a chance. This one's pretty good. So if you're jumping in this midstream and you're listening to this as a preview and you've gotten this far through our ramble, this is a good episode. So, and I have noticed this episode is it's starting to grow. Like, people are, listening to it more. So that makes me happy, because
Looking at the scores, I am actually kind of bummed you only gave it a 6.5. With Are You Satisfied? I gave it an 8.
you did. Why did I give it a 6.5? I can't remember.
I think so. The thing is, the reason why I liked it so much is because it was a different kind of story, and holy crap, did they survive?
Yeah.
Now, did they eat each other? And very, very unfortunate, yes. But holy crap, they went through some things, and all. What I thought was so crazy about it was it all could have been avoided if they just went the route.
Yep.
If they went the route, no one would have died.
Right.
Not a soul would have died.
Yep, everyone would have been fine. But even like, I don't even blame the Donners. I blame Lansford Hastings for making that stupid guidebook and then not even bothering to travel it.
And then that him like, or who was it that was out there and like it took them like a couple extra days to find him, and then he said just go over there, and then
Joseph, he was in. He was literally. Oh, I can't. I'm drawing a blank on his name.
he was supposed to be like the person that did the route, right?
I can picture his face. I know exactly who it is. I can't remember his freaking name right now. That's annoying.
And okay, and then one of the Donner parties cut his hand, was it right? Changing a wheel?
Yeah, George Donner.
Okay, so
Joseph Reed.
literally
Joseph
everything, there was like so many things that if it were changed, they would have made it. They were off by 1 day.
Not even hours. Hours. They were 8 hours away from making the ridge. And then it started snowing. And there was, I think we even went back and there were multiple times where they could have saved 2 days here. They could even like, remember the kid who broke his leg and had to just suffer in the back of the wagon with no suspension. That set them back to like 3 days just to wait for a doctor, for them just to send the doctor away.
Right.
If
and then shoot, they even got so close to the peak, right? Or the summit or whatever. They got so close. Weren't they like less than a mile away?
They were
before they had to turn back because the snow was so deep.
Because it was too deep. It went up to the oxen's chest and they couldn't go anymore.
So
Joseph
close.
Reed. If nobody heard my exclamation, it's Joseph Reed. That is his name. Nobody needs. Oh, that was annoying. That was so annoying. I couldn't think of his name.
Overall, though, I can't remember off the top of my head how many survived and how many died. Wasn't it 20 some died?
45 died. 86 went up into the mountain, and about half of those died.
Yeah,
just over half.
So, really good story.
I liked her. I liked the story. It's a really horrifying story, but it's good.
Hey, they had some sheer determination to survive.
Yes. Yep. I mean, yes, they didn't have a choice, but like they could have just accepted their fate.
Well, and then that guy's husband got cast out. He made it. Put on search parties and one got. Oh yeah, and he yeah, and then he came back and saved him.
But like, and even that, it's like it's this gallows humor worth of stories. But like, even when Joseph Reed knows that his family is stuck in the mountain, he tries to go up there, or he tries to assemble a party, but because of the war with Mexico, there's not an able-bodied man to bring someone up.
That's
so he just has to sit there. He can't do anything because
the war broke out.
Party is nothing.
He would have just went up there just to starve with them.
Yeah, like there was nothing he could have done except for just hope they survive.
Who ended up drafting the Donner Party?
Okay, I have Sarah Graves.
Yep. Oh yeah, we decided it was Sarah Graves, right?
Yeah, we did Sarah Graves and the Donner Party because whichever. But honestly, it could be however you want to name it. We chose Sarah Graves.
Next up, the assassin. The assassin.
The divisive Tom Horn. Not a lot of negative feedback. There was some. But overall, I think we did all right. I was expecting hellfire from whatever side we went against. So
you know something funny. So I was talking to my dad about this, and he was like, who did you record? And I went, a guy named Tom Horn. Oh yeah. I went, yeah, he's a bag of. No, he's not. He's a good guy. Yeah. I went, nope, sure wasn't.
I think we said this in the episode, but like, it sounds really cool to be a hired hitman, but in practice, it's not as cool as you think.
His undoing, I think his whole undoing was his stupidity. Like, get drunk. Oh yeah, I did it. And then didn't he almost have it? Oh, and then his bloody sweater. Oh, I've been looking for that.
I've been looking for that. You couldn't write a comedy like that good. Especially because you almost like even the transcript, and maybe like maybe if we do a bonus episode randomly, just reading that transcript is gold. It is so good. Because even it's not immediate, but like it's almost like he shuts the door and he turns to this undercover officer and he's like, I shoot too goddamn much, I know. But like, let me tell you, this is a good thing. He just can't help himself. He needs to talk about himself.
Well, so I believe I remember you saying like the picture we have up, he knew how to like wind a rope or whatever, right?
Yep. That was a hobby of
So
his.
didn't you say that very well could have been the noose
Yeah, if I
that hung
remember, I
him?
never did look that up because I ended up having to rebuy my copy of that book of Larry D. Ball's book because I couldn't find it and I haven't looked it up since. But I'm fairly confident that the rope that he is seen pictured with in our graphic is the same one that he was hung with.
Well, and then correct me if I'm wrong, it was 19 minutes it took him to die?
Yeah, it was a while. I don't. My 19 sticks out. I think 11 also sticks out, but it wasn't pleasant.
Because they misjudged his because he lost a bunch of weight in
Right.
prison, right?
Right. And they were doing a new form of
With the
execution
water.
where, yeah, where basically a tub of water would fill up and the platform would, it would
Because
knock
they
him
didn't
right out.
want to use executioners anymore, correct?
Yes. Yep. Yep.
But overall, he got some pretty low scores. He was definitely in the negatives.
He was.
Um,
What makes his score a little bit seem off because he only got negative 48, and I say only, but he got positive to hell with the consequence scores because we didn't think he was dumb. He talked
right.
himself about a lot, but like you can't be that good of a hitman and be dumb. And also, we're also convinced he had a distinguished military career.
Right.
He
Like
was a heck of a tracker.
he was one robbery away from living a normal life. If they would have
Yeah,
never freaking robbed his farm,
they would have saved
we would not be
$17,000.
this would not be Tom Horn right now. I'll tell you that much.
No, it wouldn't. It would probably be Kel's nickel because he probably murdered the angry farmer. I don't think Kel's nickel was a good person, but he just comes across as like this this lovable curmudgeon in my mind. Not
I
really.
don't think Tom Horn killed that kid.
He didn't. I think it's pretty clear he didn't. He just got liquored up and they wanted. It's clear he killed plenty of people, and I don't think he should get any sympathy for the way he died. Because let's be honest, he was hired by rich cattlemen to basically take their livestock. If we're being completely honest.
And then towards the end, he was like, "Ah, screw it. I'm just gonna. If they don't move, I'm just gonna kill them."
Right.
Like he got to a point where he was over, like trying to talk him out of it, right? Because I vaguely remember that story where he was shooting at the guy. Remember, but his best friend stopped him.
He does get a little unhinged, yes. Yeah, but I mean that should be predictable too. Now that you mention it, because once you kill once and you're doing it for money,
and he was making a lot, so he had some pretty deep pockets he was working for.
I do love that. He sucked it. I love that he sucked at fist fights. That is great.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot about that. He got his butt whooped, didn't he? Oh, he was the one whose dog got killed when he was a kid.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I still do not agree with that. But anyways, moving on.
No one should.
Who got Tom Horn? Me?
Did you get Tom Horn? That seems right.
No, I think it was you.
No, you have Tom Horn.
Oh, okay. I took the old assassin for hire.
Yes, you did.
Now we start the trilogy that is little, big, horn.
This man took up way too much of my life.
I think I can't remember the episode count, but it had to have been over 4 hours, wasn't it? 4 hours of Custer content.
It was closer to 4 than 3. And that was even, I can't remember what the raw editing was for you, but yeah, it had to have been.
Let me tell you something. After listening to this man's life, he is one of the luckiest SOBs that just happened to forget his lucky rabbit foot or something on the day he died. But good God, how many times should he have died? I think we were counting like at least, I want to say at least 6.
I mean, you could probably name them. I even if you don't translate Custer's luck into when he should have died, even at the very beginning, him writing to a Republican senator to get into West Point when his family's a Democrat, he gets in. He gets court-martialed, but gets a slap on the wrist, and he can continue to go to war. He
and remember, folks, again, they were reversed back in the day. Democrat, just because you're Democrat or Republican,
going to come out of the closet if you are summoning the spirit of Dr. Boland. Don't you dare do this.
I'm just trying to remind people. Just because you're one party back then does not mean you're the same party. That's all I'm saying.
I'm just waiting. Eventually, I'm going to start hearing his voice again.
I'm trying to ward him off.
No, you're summoning him to me. He's going to bother me. I don't think you realize he just shows up when he wants to, and it's real weird sometimes.
No, but I think I think this was the first time. I don't know if you've ever given anyone a 10 or a -10 in Legacy, but I believe this is the first time I gave someone a max score for Legacy, because this man is you have to know he is taught in all the classes in school in America, at least.
Yes.
So, but he is a insert any sort of profane word. Yeah. Like, this dude is not a cool dude.
I think the most fun episode we had recording was his Civil War years.
Oh,
it was just hysterical.
It was just ridiculous. The dude, oh my God. Yeah. I remember him getting running to a fence in the Civil War, just charging, but then somehow making it out, and
right. Well, he jumped multiple fences, but he played a big role in Gettysburg. He was smart. Every time, so I will post this picture, and let me tell you, some comments are a little uncalled for, but that's fine. That's what the internet's for. Rude comments sometimes, but people are very quick to call him an idiot. And I will was he intellectual? No. But in a battle, I wouldn't mind fighting for him. Because he can pick it up. Now, am I gonna die? Probably, but I'm probably gonna die anyway.
I was just gonna bring up that point. He was very good, but he did not care who died with him. If it was a tactical advantage, he was taking it, regardless of the lives it cost him.
And he can make that decision very quickly. Now, you can make the argument: was he just waiting? Was he going to make that charge anyway? Probably, but at least he waited until the right time to do it. But
I'm just saying why people probably think he's stupid, because of Little Bighorn.
Yes.
He chose to follow. Well, how many men was it in the Sioux?
There was an estimated 10,000.
10,000, right? Yeah. Okay. So yes, and he had a band of what? A couple hundred?
215, I think, died.
Because you're thinking was they just run anyways.
They're gonna run, which had been the case for him. And the other time now,
but there was never 10,000.
This is correct. I'm not telling you it was a smart decision. I'm just saying it had worked. That same strategy worked for him at the Washita, this is the guy that we gave the massacre score. His counting coup score probably won't be top because he's at -150 because he tried playing the I didn't give the order to shoot women and children, but I find it hard to believe that he didn't tell them not to do it either. Right. So
men, women, and children all died.
Yes,
at the hands of this man.
Yes.
And then like you said, he might not have, or who knows, he might not have given the order, but it's not like he was sitting there going, "What? No, stop!"
He eventually does give the cease call, but he makes it sound like, "Oh, once I realized they were doing it, then I told them to stop." But come on, buddy, you knew, you could have.
You didn't hear women screaming, kids freaking screaming. Come on.
I don't buy it, George. You entertaining SOB. But
I thought the second part half of his life was pretty unentertaining. Where it was like, what did I say? It was like the tale of living long enough to become the villain.
yep,
He really did in his
he
later
Harvey
years.
dented us. He did.
I mean, he even had the coin of luck.
He freaking did for a while.
But alas, I'm pretty sure I was the one to recruit Custer on my team.
I think that's right. Yes. Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be tough. That one I'm a little worried about.
I know. He's so well known and his story's not like boring. So
that one's going to be tough. I'm a little worried. I am worried. Okay, next.
next in the trilogy. Good
I
old
couldn't be
Crazy.
happy. Sometimes I question what order I need to do people in. Generally, I just pick up on basically who picks up the story next. So Custer died first, then Crazy Horse, then Sitting Bull. I really struggled with having. I was going to try to put Custer first because I felt that's what people would listen to on the anniversary of Little Bighorns. They'd want to know about Custer, but I couldn't be happier that we did Custer first and then we focused on Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull. Because at the end of the day, this is the Sioux's victory.
Mm-hmm.
Every time we call it Custer's Last Stand, we are taking away with what the Sioux did, which was the greatest military defeat on the plains for the Americans.
Mm-hmm.
There's no doubt. It beats the Fetterman fight. It beats the Groton fight. It is their accomplishment. And I don't want Custer's ego to feed it anymore. So really happy I chose with that one. So anyway, Crazy Horse, you stoic mystery of a man.
He is the one where not a picture was ever taken of this man.
There's an
Allegedly.
There is an alleged one, but it's like probably not. The graphic is a picture that somebody I believe drew from memory, and then they showed it to his sister, and she was like, "Yeah, that kind of looks like him." So honestly, I kind of like that because I like my American West with a little bit of mystery.
Well, he is getting a monument.
He is.
Will it ever be complete in our lifetime? Highly, highly doubt it. But
yeah. I believe I think we talked about this in the episode, but they're not. I don't believe they're accepting federal money, so it's all private donations. So, maybe I'll leave a link in the episode notes if you'd like to donate to that. By all means, it's going to be massive when it's completed. It will make Mount Rushmore look small.
Mount Rushmore's already small, but
yeah, well, Mount Rushmore's also overrated. I didn't say it.
Well, we're from South Dakota, so we can say it's overrated.
I'm not a statue guy to begin with.
Me either.
You know what?
Me either. Well, I take that back because I love the Lincoln Memorial.
There are so few people that deserve a statue. And also, statues to me are just weird. Like they are.
Right.
So few people in American history deserve a statue that I just, you know what? I don't care. You could destroy all of them tomorrow. I really don't. Go to a museum. You don't go to a statue. This is my rant. This is my one rant. You do not go to a statue to learn. You go to a statue to idolize. You go to a museum to learn. You read to learn. You don't go to a statue with a tiny little plaque that half the time isn't accurate.
Right. Or you don't even read.
It's so weird to me. It's so weird. Anyway, it's fine. Crazy Horse. What do you remember about him?
He got his name from his dad.
Yes, he did.
His dad, I believe, took the name of Worm.
Yes,
afterwards,
he did.
Right? He also, I believe it was him that had the little, or no, that was Sitting Bull, who had the little like affair with the other man's wife.
No, that was him.
Okay, yep. Oh no, Sitting Bull's was the tug and tug of both arms.
Yes, he had multiple wives. Yeah.
But Crazy Horse had the little, like he was sleeping with another man's wife, and he got almost killed. What was it in his jaw, right?
Shot in the jaw. Which is also another reason why the alleged photo of Crazy Horse, they don't believe it because they really can't find, because obviously if you got shot in the jaw, there's going to be a mark there.
Right.
And that picture doesn't have
Well, he was also part of what did they call him? I want to say Shirts, but
shirt wears.
yes, where he was like one of the main warriors, right?
Yep. Well respected. Yep.
But he lost it after that incident. But
yes, he did.
And then I'm trying to remember, how did he die?
He was outside of Camp Robinson and they held him down and somebody got him with a bayonet.
That's right. Died very tragically.
Before that, though, he did have like the Fetterman fight was his moment.
That was where they were cresting the hill, right?
That's where he was the decoy.
And he when he was like chipping the ice off of his horse's hooves and stuff.
Which is really cool.
So funny.
Then when they didn't get the hint, he started building a fire.
As bullets, they're shooting at him too the whole time.
Yeah, that's such a cool moment. Like,
and to be clear, he did not kill Custer.
No,
now we know.
I wish somebody would say a definitive sentence on what he did, though. That would be great.
Oh, that's right. That's Crazy Horse. He did something awesome. We just don't know what it was.
He was incredible. Well, like what? He was just incredible. What else more do you want?
You open his book, it's 150 blank pages with just one sentence. He was incredible. He did some things.
Which I have no doubt, because everyone seemed to be mightily impressed, but just some type of detail. But likely he led a charge that led men to Custer, is what I believe is one theory. But he's kind of a mystery. Like, probably to his liking. Like, it didn't seem like he liked people very much.
Well, overall, we gave him pretty decent score, I would say. Yeah. Overall, his final score was 67.5. We gave him his highest round was draw, and be sure you were right. Yep. Then go ahead at 7.
I can't remember why was I harsh on him for Are You Satisfied? I can't remember.
I think it's because there wasn't a lot, like because of what we just talked about, right? Where he did some things, some things, but we just don't know what.
I was bitter. You're right.
But I was more on the lines of like his, if I remember correctly, like he was a solid like war leader. Like he had some, like you said, the Fetterman fight and all that.
Yep.
So, and I believe you were.
Yes, he is mine.
Yeah.
He is on my team.
All right. So, that being said, next up is the end of the trilogy. Good old Sitting Bull. Eric, what'd you think?
I liked it. Again, it's kind of the same thing with Crazy Horse. I wish there was more context, and even, I mean, Grant, it could have just been the couple books that I solved too, but there's a lot of mythology around him, but trying to scale it back into what he did got a little bit tedious. And also, if you got like, I don't like, I like some mystery in my history sometimes, but when it comes to like, I struggle with like mythology, or I struggle with like spiritual things. Crazy Horse and Sitting Bull is both part of their story, so we went into it a little bit, but probably not as much as some people would like. But Sitting Bull, I don't know what I was expecting. He's our high score for native leaders. He's sitting at 71.
Mm-hmm.
Healthy legacy score. I wish the sources backed up what he, like, other than to say he did some great things leading up, like as he's on his journey. You can point out a couple stories, but I don't feel like that really does him justice on just how influential he was on the plains, other than just saying he was very influential on the plains.
I mean, and he also, his popularity grew beyond that after, right? Like when he joined Buffalo Bills, Wild West. He was like a headliner, quote unquote, even though people, quote unquote, hated him.
Right.
I thought it was very The only thing I remember, not like my least favorite thing was how the dude on the reservation, I can't even think of his name. I hated
McLaughlin.
that dude. McLaughlin. Um basically like turned him into the villain that
Yes.
needed to die. And
Yes.
he was killed by his own people. However, he did have the visions, which is very interesting. How he
Right.
was having visions of how he was going to die, and sure enough,
Sure does happen.
so. But overall, I think that was a perfect way to end the Little Bighorn.
He is easily. I think he is the most consequential native leader. And I think he also lives up to his name because while he didn't, I think when you think of Little Bighorn and you instantly think of Sitting Bull, you picture him actually like leading this attack and like killing Custer. Well, that didn't happen. He didn't even really lead the attack, but he is the reason they're kind of there. So he does get maybe too much credit for Custer's death because, like, let's be honest, Custer killed himself. Like,
right. It doesn't matter who was the one that actually killed Custer. Custer went into that battle having to know it was going to be his last.
Right. But Sitting Bull did bring them together.
He brought all the two together, right?
Yes. And in that climate where everyone, like when leaving the reservation was literally a crime, that means something. And then even when you follow, even his death is consequential because 2 weeks after he dies, it's Wounded Knee. And like these are all very connected. Like he is very influential in the area. I don't think there is a more influential person in the area than Sitting Bull from, let's just say 1870 to 1890. He is the name on the Great Plains.
I agree. And I mean, I know I liked Crazy Horse a little bit more, but I do agree with you on Sitting Bull was probably he wasn't probably he was more consequential. But who drafted him?
I think he's on your team.
I believe so. I was going to say I think he's on my team as well.
Yes, he's on your team. You have Custer and Sitting Bull.
Yeah, 2 of the 3.
We're gonna get along, right? I do have
horse. These pretty next 2 are the most recent that we did, so we'll probably briefly touch over them since they're the freshest.
Yeah, they are the freshest. Also, they haven't dropped yet when we're recording this.
They're so fresh.
Ready to go. They're scheduled, but Annie Oakley doesn't drop for another week.
But Miss Annie Oakley, so after, I believe your thinking was we have to do someone light because Little Bighorn was so intense, and for you it was so research heavy.
Right. Which, don't get me wrong, I enjoyed the research a Little Bighorn, but I needed a change of pace. The only thing I do kind of regret is I did, like halfway through Sitting Bull's episode, I did just pull Annie Oakley. She was going to be 2 episodes away to line up with her birthday, but having her follow, it was a nice little little lead into her. So
for sure,
because that story of Sitting Bull adopting her into his family is just fantastic.
That's awesome. And it was kind of cool that we heard like the Sitting Bull side, and then like literally the next story, Annie's side.
Yeah. Yep. The next time, and then I think it might go down as one of my favorite stories, but not shaking Prince Edward's hand is so good.
It's even better when I want to say it is. I mean, I know it's like that's what they say it is, but because he was having extramarital relations with
an affair.
Gotcha.
To the future king of England.
Nice to meet you, Queen.
Queen, just so good, so freaking good. The brass balls on her.
I know, right?
Standing.
And to be honest, she I would say stayed. Oh, I mean, she did. Oh, well, I was going to say kind of stayed in the spotlight her whole life, but there was that weird incident in Chicago. Cocaine. Yeah. Woo!
Somebody stole someone's pants to get drug money.
She spent the rest of her years suing everyone, right?
the next couple years. She lived probably another 10, 15 years after. It's just by the end of that, there wasn't much left to cover in her story.
Right.
Um,
Well, I mean, if I remember correctly, you did say it cost like most of her fortune, didn't it?
Not most of her fortune, but she lost money in getting she lost money overall, but she won 54 of the 55 court cases
Right.
against her. Like, that's pretty good. And
But
you got to think
overall, it was a refreshing story, I thought, to go after.
it was different. It is so weird to have someone with such an elite skill of anything. Because I don't
Oh,
think
yeah.
we've seen anyone with that much skill since Wild Bill?
And she was such a good shot. Like with the little video of
Yeah.
her shooting the little glass balls or whatever.
And I understand, like, we went into like some of the trick shots she did. But to me, the most impressive thing was that 8-hour marathon where she's hit 4,700 of the 5,000 targets. Like, that
Right.
is so impressive to me. Just to hold anything for 8 hours.
5,000 shots. And she did 5,000 shots. That's so much.
Right. And those guns ain't light. I it's so weird to have such an elite skill.
Well,
And
and just
also,
constantly stay focused too.
right. You'd think she was focused. She was probably just like she was probably like sipping a coffee and like holding it out like everyone else. Everyone
Well, I
else
know
was
we made a
focusing.
joke when you were like for her draw around where she was walking away from you and then lifted up the beer.
Oh god. The other strategy I should have went with is if I'm dumb enough to be looking down the barrel of her shotgun, maybe I just hold up a candle and hopefully she aims for the candle. Like,
Right? No, I'm part of the show. I'm part of the show, Annie.
please don't shoot me. Please don't shoot me. But yeah, she was good.
I like the little love story too between her and Frank.
How nice. Now, I understand, like, the bar for men is probably pretty low in the 1800s, but like for Annie's husband Frank to just accept that she is better at this and to go along and to encourage it is so nice.
And to love her so much that he passed away shortly after her.
Right.
It's almost like The Notebook. Come on.
Right.
I mean, given he did go on a food strike and probably starve himself to death, but
rumored.
Rumored. Who ended up taking the Annie? You did, I believe.
I did. Yep, she's on my team. Because this is where you were ahead.
Now, before we talk about this last guy, I just have to say, literally minutes after we get done recording, I go on the internet. I'm doing my usual searching of movies because, I love movies. And I come across an article, and what is it? They are creating a miniseries based on Mr. Bass Reeves. We did it, ladies and gentlemen. We did it. He's getting the series. No, but Bass Reeves, he was the first.
He was the first black guy.
We've covered. But he was also rare because he was a lawman. And I believe he was the first lawman we did.
Yeah,
like legit lawman. I mean, Wild Bill Hickok was for a little bit.
Right. But that's Wild Bill Hickok was more celebrity. I would argue more celebrity gambler than he was.
But Bass Reeves, he was through and through
lawman. If he got your warrant, you're going in.
Done. And the way he did some of them was freaking genius.
It was great.
Minus, the walk though. How many miles was it? 30?
Yeah, 30 miles.
Come on, dude. Just park a little closer.
I do like what I didn't do a good job explaining in there is, so obviously I think I said he would take like as many as 16 or 17 different men in at a time. They were just stuck to the wagon while they were just collecting. So if you were the first one he caught,
you're not going
an
for a
awfully
while.
long journey. And then when you remember, he also would preach to them at night. I'm sure that sermon got real old real quick.
The fact, though, that he did it for so long, so well, and had to be honest, because remember,
right,
black guy in the South,
Indian Territory, but yes.
What, Oklahoma, right?
Yep.
Not good for him.
No. It was a weird mix of he couldn't have done it anywhere else but Oklahoma, like Indian Territory, because no one else was signing up to be a marshal. Like that was where the opportunity was. But yeah, what's weird, not weird, like it shouldn't surprise anyone, but like we don't know how much racism he had to put up on a day-to-day basis. Unfathomable amount. I don't think there's any denying that, but it's just not written down until more people start until like Oklahoma starts becoming a state. That's when you start hearing more stories of him having to deal with racism as more people are heading out west.
Right.
Which I understand, like you can't change history, and like history does not care about your feelings, but it's sadly predictable.
Right.
It really bums you out that he was at least, you could have a black man be successful on his own merit and nobody seemed to care that he was black until more white people came in the area.
And then all of a sudden it mattered. I mean, the dude was illiterate too his whole career.
Right. He was a former slave.
Right.
And if it wasn't for a trial that was honestly kind of a BS charge, not kind of, it was a BS charge, he would have had a good living.
Yep. Oh, like he was the one I was thinking of that cost his whole life savings. And then on top of that, his son killed his wife.
Yeah, took him in. Yeah.
And he was the one to take him in.
Yeah.
That's how like on the law he was.
Yeah, I'm glad that they're doing a show about him. I hope it's well done. I feel there's so much opportunity there's so much opportunity lost with him that we're never going to know who he is. Right. And that to me is a shame. He seemed like such a full of life person, but nobody thought to write it down.
I guess the only thing that I was like iffy on was like his personal life, because he was very, very strict, and he just left his wife.
We believe he was strict. Yes.
Yeah. We believe.
There's a lot of context there's no history involved. Like there's a lot of missing context that we don't know, but yes, I don't think it's a stretch to imagine him as being a very strict father who was away constantly, who probably had incredibly high standards based off of his line of work, and it probably didn't always translate well at home. I'm not saying he was abusive. I'm not saying he was any of those things that you can, because we don't know, but I don't know. I wish we knew more.
Unfortunately, though, because there's so little about him, I think that's really what hurt his score, because we could not give him a high legacy score. It's just not well known.
Yeah, legacy score. He was never going to win legacy,
which is crazy because I think overall he's a better lawman than like Wyatt Earp.
Yeah. Art Burton will argue that to the death, let me tell you. In his book, there's more than a couple mentions of, by the way, Wyatt Earp couldn't do this. But I mean, other than his scores did all right. I gave him an 8.5. You gave him a 6.5. It really came down. He was doing really well until his legacy score, and it just wasn't there. And honestly, if we're being honest, 3 was probably too high from each of us.
Yeah. It probably should have been like 1.
Because like nobody.
I don't know though. We'll have to wait and see, because they are making a show on him.
I was about to say, well, they're making a show because we covered him, so hopefully.
Right. But I believe you took him, correct?
Yes, because silly, foolish Matt passed on him.
I passed on him. I passed. Yeah.
You fool!
Whoa, I have a plan.
I have
a plan.
You don't have a plan. I couldn't be more excited. I hope he wins. I hope in 2 2
We
years
got.
whenever we do this
Yeah, I was
tournament.
gonna say, dude, it's gonna be a few years from now, but our teams are gonna be stacked. I'm calling it right now, ladies and gentlemen. Mark my words. This episode, you'll hear it first. Eric will drop Bass Reeves and
Nope.
put him in the free agent pool.
Nope.
Mark
Nope.
my words.
Nope. There are, I don't know who I would drop, but he is staying. Because you will remember Das. I would probably drop Daniel Boone before him. I would drop William Travis in a heartbeat.
William Travis is whatever.
It's just the Alamo. I mean, if you want to get the Alamo story in there. I would pair him up against, I think he would beat Tom Horn. I think his story beats Tom Horn. I think he would beat James Bowie. I'd be a little nervous about him going up against Jesse James, but that would be.
Would you be nervous of him going up against Custer?
Yeah, I wouldn't put him up against Custer.
Exactly.
I'm going to have to throw a lot at Custer. I'm not going to lie. Custer is probably going to have a pretty easy first couple of rounds. And then I hope I just have the numbers game to where, like, hopefully, like, maybe Wild Bill Hickok, or maybe that, like, we really go into Donner Party, or like we also have some big names that we haven't covered yet.
Exactly.
We have Wyatt Earp. We still have Bat Masterson.
I mean, we technically have 46 more people to go through.
Not technically. We do.
We do. Right.
56.
Yes, 56. Oh, goodness gracious. But as the teams sit right now, I will read my team. I have Billy the Kid, Calamity Jane, Jesse James, James Bowie, Tenz Katawa, Red Cloud, Olive Oatman, Tom Horn, Georgie Boy Custer, and Sitting Bull.
And I have the winning team, which consists of Wild Bill Hickok, Daniel Boone, Tecumseh, because of course Tecumseh, David Crockett, William B. Travis, John Wesley Hardin, the Donner Party, Crazy Horse, Annie Oakley, and Bass Reeves. I have the ultimate baddie.
Right. You do.
Now, if this was the tournament, I would probably line it up so that John Wesley Hardin meets George Custer somewhere, but I think Custer would knock him out pretty easy. Because unless you really like murder.
I think Calamity Jane could take out Tecumseh.
I don't see it.
I know, I'm just kidding.
I think you're trying to get
I was.
Who would I be nervous about Tecumseh going up against? Jesse James.
Billy the Kid.
I think there would be Custer, Jesse James, and Billy the Kid would be the only three I would be worried.
Not even Sitting Bull?
I think I like his story a little bit more. Maybe.
I don't know. We'll have to wait and see.
We'll see. We'll see what Jesse James does too. I don't think Jesse's going to do that well.
I don't either. I got to get rid of him.
I think the first two people we covered, Billy the Kid and Wild Bill Hickok, I think they're going to do really well because there's a reason we did them first. My thought was if we're not going to hook people by Wild Bill Hickok or Billy the Kid, we're not going to hook them anyway. So may as well just get them out of the way first.
Right.
So with that is our 10 episode recap. I think we've done all right. We're not even halfway done, which is exciting. I think I have up until 35. I know who we're doing. I just flipped a lot of the order, so I don't know what order we're doing them in, but we know who we're doing, so that's exciting.
And we have some fun stuff planned too, where it's in the works. So
right. We do have just to let people know, we do post on YouTube just our episodes. We do have potential plans to maybe do some things on YouTube. Don't know yet. Gonna play around with that. So if you haven't, maybe just give us a subscribe. And also, if we just happen to stumble upon the monetization for YouTube, we're a long ways off from that, but wouldn't that just be terrible? Finally, thank you guys for all listening. We've had a pretty good increase in downloads the last couple of months, so that's pretty awesome. Custer helped with that. No, probably the most famous name we cover does obviously help, but obviously that comes from you guys spreading the word, and really appreciate it.
Yeah, I see. I've been seeing a lot of traction on, Facebook and Reddit, especially.
Yeah.
So
Reddit's fun. If
it's
you're not following us on Reddit, we do. It's Ranking 76 community. We also have our own profile. I was never big on Reddit before I just literally opened it on a whim. It's funny. There's parts of Reddit that still scare the heck out of me that I'll never go into, but it's fun.
Reddit's its own beast.
Yeah,
So
it's very witty. I enjoy I enjoy it. So
let us know how we're doing. Keep those reviews and comments coming. There's no good or bad. We take everything and look at it. So just keep that up so we can keep getting better for you guys. I mean, we're 20 episodes in. We got a long way to go. So
hopefully it's a
yeah,
lot of good. Hopefully
right.
it's worth listening for the next 56 episodes.
But until next time,
I'm Eric.
and I'm Matt. Bye.